Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Temperatures are quite warm across the prairie here as we deal with a building ridge of high pressure across the region. Temperatures already in the mid to upper teens across the prairie here as we get started on Wednesday morning. Clear skies across much of the region. As we look at the satellite picture, we had some thunderstorms across central and northern portions of Alberta, pushing into far northern Saskatchewan overnight, but that activity is beginning to fade and move off to the north and to the east, such that we've got at least broken sunshine here across just about the entire area, the entire ag belt across the Canadian Prairie. As we look at the last 24 hours of lightning activity, again, here are the thunderstorms from portions of central Alberta into northern Saskatchewan, the Edmonton area, maybe getting some rumbles of thunder during the overnight. And again, looking at the radar picture, much of that has moved out of the area and begun to fade as we head deeper into the morning hours here on Wednesday. Now, as we look at the forecast for precipitation heading into the next 60 hours, we have a couple chances for some widely isolated thunderstorm activity across the prairie, but generally looking pretty dry as we head through the next 5 to 7 days. Now, as we get to the afternoon and evening hours today, I'll be watching for at least isolated or scattered thunderstorm activity across northern and central portions of Alberta, probably north of the Calgary area, but certainly a rogue thunderstorm possible in that area. And then as we head into tomorrow afternoon and evening, Thursday afternoon and evening, we'll look for the chance highest across kind of the southern border here between Manitoba and Saskatchewan for a couple isolated strong storms, but then even a couple of thunderstorms possible as you head west back toward the Calgary area. Now, as we look at the forecast instability, kind of our two severe weather ingredients here, instability, the convective available potential energy. Sorry, let me say that one more time. Convective available potential energy. Here on the top, that's the fuel, the warm and humid air mass, and on the bottom here, we've got the winds at 500 millibars, kind of right in the mid-levels of the atmosphere where we can pick out some of our short waves, some of our disturbances that help to kick off thunderstorm activity. And so what we've got here, we've got today, this will be Wednesday and then Thursday. What I want to kind of draw your attention to is where we get the overlap here, and that's across northern areas here, across that northern gradient, the northern tier of that instability where you get the upper level winds coming up and over the top of that, giving the better upper level support for more organized thunderstorm activity. So again, today that kind of north of Calgary up toward Edmonton, over toward Peace River, maybe some strong thunderstorms in that area. Again, not out of the question to get a stronger storm south of Highway 16. And then as we head into the day on Thursday, again, you kind of get the overlap right here. Here's our short wave making its way through. The instability here, the northern tier of that across kind of along and north of Highway 16 across central portions of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. But then high instability as you head south from there down toward the U.S. border. Now, what I want to also point out here is the cap. You may hear that term, the atmospheric cap. Sometimes we get a layer of warm air in the low to mid-levels of the atmosphere that can kind of suppress thunderstorm activity. And so we're looking at the temperatures at 700 millibars in the low to mid-levels of the atmosphere. And where you see the 10 degrees Celsius line, 10 to 11 degrees, that's some warm air. That is a strong cap. And that will additionally suppress thunderstorm activity. And this is for this evening here at 7 p.m. So a lot of things we have to look at when we're trying to diagnose the potential for some thunderstorms. We've got a lot of instability across a big chunk of central and southern Alberta and Saskatchewan, but then you look at the cap, a lot of that is capped. A lot of that will not be tapped into. But then you get up toward the north, you've got a weaker cap along the northern gradient of that instability, and then you've also got strong jet stream winds, the upper level support. So this is where we've got the combination here of instability, we've got the combination of a weaker cap, and then we've also got the aid of the stronger upper-level winds. So again, the threat for the thunderstorms highest as you head north there, just kind of showing you some of the background ingredients. And then this would be very similar if we were to look at tomorrow. We would see that strongest cap again across the south with weaker capping along the north with the stronger upper-level support. So as we look at the NAM model, just raw output for total precipitation between now and noon on Saturday, we see the potential for some corridors of more organized precipitation well to the north, but as you head off toward the south across the ag belt, we're looking at kind of just the opportunity for a couple of isolated thunderstorms here. So most folks going to get missed, and then the folks who do get hit here may pick up a quick downpour, but unfortunately we'll run the risk for one of those storms to be severe as well. Now, as we kind of just look at the upper level pattern, what's going on here as we head through the next few days, again, transitioning to a pattern that is going to have a ridge across the prairie here, peaking as we head into the weekend. You can see the height lines jumping up, doing something like that. That is our ridge that allows the heat to build up into the prairie. But we do have our next player, this big trough, that's going to be slowly making its way into the prairie as we end the weekend and head into early next week. We'll see this thing start to move into the prairie. That's going to reset our temperatures downward a bit and also bring back the chance for some more organized shower and storm activity across the prairie. Now, with the ridge building in, we do have heat warnings in place across parts of the prairie. Those highs today in the low to mid 30s. We're looking at today's max temps. The core of that heat going to be maximized across southern Alberta into southwestern Saskatchewan, but 30s to be found all the way into central portions of Saskatchewan. And then as we head into the day tomorrow, temperatures above 30 across much of southern Alberta, southern Saskatchewan, and then into southwestern portions of Manitoba. So very hot across the prairie. That really is the theme. Or the big story here as we head through the next 48 hours. That heat will begin to fade slightly as we head into the day on Friday. Hot and mostly dry as we're looking at the precipitation forecast here over the next 7 days. The 7-day forecast for precipitation anomaly on the left, and then the probability of picking up 1 inch or more of precipitation over the next 7 days. And again, really the only place that we see the high or any probability of picking up an inch or 25 millimeters here across Edmonton, Peace River, across central and western portions of Alberta. Just about everyone going to be on the drier side as we head through the next 7 days. Now, taking just a look at the operational model, the operational European model's literal precip forecast, again, we see the thunderstorms waning across northern Alberta and northern Saskatchewan this morning, but then watching for additional scattered storms, maybe a few strong storms across central portions of Alberta, generally north of Calgary up toward Edmonton this afternoon and evening, where I think the best chance for a couple strong storms producing some hail will be. Again, tomorrow, the southern border of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. This is where I think the best chance for strong storms, including a few hail-producing storms, was going to be. But then, of course, the potential for an isolated strong storm or two all the way back toward the Rockies here in the Calgary area tomorrow afternoon and evening. Friday, that front pretty much clears the area. That's going to shut us down for another couple of days before our next storm system, that trough that we saw there, slowly makes its way in from the west, bringing another chance for precipitation as we get into the early part of the work week. But this is really going to be maximized across this region here, British Columbia into central portions of Saskatchewan. Elsewhere, as you head east across the prairie, looking pretty dry. Here's this frontal boundary making its way across the region here Wednesday into Thursday, bringing maybe just a quick shot of some precipitation, but generally no real chance for a real significant widespread precipitation across a big chunk of the ag belt as we head through the next 7 days. As I just hit play on the total precipitation accumulation forecast, we're getting into Thursday, now Friday, getting into Saturday. Let me go ahead and pause it because that is the system making its way through the region now over the next 3 days. Again, you see very, very light precipitation. If there's any kind of bullseye on some heavier precip, it's again back toward the north of Calgary, across central portions of Alberta. Elsewhere, as you head across the ag belt here, looking for the opportunity for a couple storms over the next 2 to 3 days, but those are going to be few and far between, and they could also bring the potential for some hail along with them. So as we look at high temperatures for over the next several days, Calgary, you're going to be hanging out in the upper 20s to the lower 30s between now and next Monday. Before that next trough moves in, we'll reset temps down into the mid-20s. Similar look here in Edmonton. Saskatoon, 32 for the high tomorrow, or today, 30 tomorrow, dropping down into the upper 20s as we head into the weekend. Here's a look at temperatures in Regina, and then Winnipeg finishing off the week with temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again on Friday morning.